Howdy, everybody. So I'm in my Silverado. I got 130,000 miles, 741 miles. 130,741. This is a 2015 Chevy Silverado work truck. I upgraded to the Denali Dash last fall when I was on medical leave. But this is a work truck. I bought this truck in 2017, 2018 time frame. It had survived a Hurricane Katrina, and I paid cash for it. I paid like $22,000 or $23,000 cash for this truck. Never had a pickup truck payment, and I've had it ever since. So I've had it, going on 6 years. I bought it with like 99,000 miles. So I put 30,000 miles over 6 years. So like 5,000 miles per year, which is not a lot. But it's paid for. It's 4-wheel drive, 6.5 liter V8, Chevy Silverado, heavy duty 2500. I use it to pull my pickup truck or pull my RV travel trailer. And over the years, I thought, well, it'd be nice to upgrade to a newer vehicle, but I never did. And same thing with my RV. My RV is a 2014 queen bed, 17-foot travel trailer. Nothing fancy. I've always thought about upgrading that as well, but I never did. And what I focused on instead was improving my credit, paying off debts, and building my savings. Because my priority wasn't to get a newer pickup truck or a newer RV, although those things would be nice. My priority was to grow, to grow in savings. I knew my business would run smoother the more savings I had. I'd be in a position to have more options, the more money I had, that I could buy and sell trucks and fix and repair trucks, Freightliners and Peterbilts, if I had the money. My focus was on the business. It wasn't about the creature features with newer makes and models of pickup trucks and RVs. And this is related to what we see with the postings of how to be successful is focus on growth, not on comfort. I thought about getting an apartment instead of being in an RV. I put a lot of thought into getting a 1 or 2 bedroom apartment, buying really nice furniture, having it like a luxury apartment that I could enjoy on home time. But I never did, because that was going to cost for rent like at least $1,000 a month. I think you're probably looking at $10,000 to $20,000 worth of furniture. By the time you buy leather couches and top of the line mattresses and wood furniture, it could easily be over $10,000 for all that stuff if you buy high quality furniture and kitchen utensils and plateware and silverware, all that stuff combined, easily over $10,000. Never did it. And I would like all those things, but what I decided to do as strategy instead was just do with what I got. What I got works. Is it top of the line? No. But it's functional. And when I think about, doing 125,000 miles a year on the road, I don't have a lot of time to drive a newer vehicle. Like, I only put less than 5,000 miles a year on the pickup already. So if I was to go buy a $50,000 pickup truck, that's newer, better features, those are very expensive miles. I wouldn't even use it that much. The same thing with upgrading the RV. The RV could be $30,000 or more. It's like, well, I don't even get into my RV but a few times a year. It's like that's very expensive. So I never did it. And it's the same way with the apartment, having a luxury apartment. If you spend $1,000 a month for rent and you're only there for 3 or 5 days out of the year or out of the month, then that's the equivalent of spending $200 to $300 a night on a hotel for the amount of time you actually spend in that apartment. So I always focus on growth. Now, at some point, I'll have enough savings that I will, start upgrading the pickup truck and the RV and maybe get into an apartment as I get older. Probably once I'm above $250,000, approaching $300,000 in savings. Yeah, your investments are doing good. You can afford to upgrade. But I'm not there yet, so until I reach that, let's just appreciate what I have. Don't worry about being comfortable as long as it's functional. I mean, it's still comfortable. I still have AC and heat and stuff in the pickup. It's not like I'm not uncomfortable. It'd be nicer to have newer, better things, but it's not necessary. I would rather have a larger investment portfolio than have newer, better creature features in my personal vehicle or my RV. So that's the idea, is that you choose growth over comfort. If I chose comfort over growth, then that would be a big mistake, because I would have spent probably upwards of $50,000 trying to make my life more comfortable. Meanwhile, my investment portfolio, my savings would not be doing as well. And in the long run, you need that compound interest on your investment to work for you. The things that you spend on comfort aren't earning you compound interest. So you're really shooting yourself in the foot when you put too much emphasis on being comfortable and not enough emphasis on growing. So that's something to think about. Charlie Munger said the first 100,000 is the hardest money you'll ever earn, for a savings portfolio. Because every year after that, compound interest makes it easier and easier to reach the next 100,000. So even if you only got the historical average of the S&P 500, which is 10%, 10% of 100,000 is $10,000. So you don't need to save another 100,000 to reach the next increment of 100,000. You only got to go 90,000 to reach 200,000. And so on year over year over year. But if you spend that money on items that make you comfortable, it's going to make it harder for you to reach that first 100,000. It's going to take longer, and you're going to miss that opportunity of earning compound interest on that money. Because things that you buy for comfort, generally speaking, don't appreciate. They actually go down in value. So when you buy a nicer vehicle, it goes down in value as soon as you drive it off the lot. Same thing with the RV. It's worth the most it's ever been valued at while it's sitting at the dealership. As soon as you take it off the lot, it's worth less. So the money you spend on those things is the money that you're not going to make on compound interest. So these are things that I think about a lot, just trying to get smarter with money. It's taken me a long time to be in a position to earn that kind of money. And then it's really had to change my thinking about money and my spending behaviors to say, okay, the smart thing for you to do is invest that money. Don't spend it upgrading your vehicle and other things that make your life more comfortable. You're not even going to have that much time to enjoy those comfortable things, because your time is going to be spent in a truck getting 125,000 miles for the year. So don't spend money on it, until you reach the point in your financial journey that it's like, look, I'm rock solid on my retirement. You reach 300,000, 400,000, or more in your retirement, and you want to, at that point, once you're secure in your finances and your retirement, going forward, then you can go upgrade for a nicer ride and things to make you more comfortable. You probably would appreciate it too, because you're going to be older. All right, guys, that's all I got for you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the internet.